Okay, what is going on, MegaWhale team? Welcome back to our channel. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Today's video is going to be a quick update on Solana. So if you're new here, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. It's always great to have new viewers. And obviously, if you're a returning subscriber, it's always great to have you guys tuning into our content. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. And remember to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Join our Twitter and Telegram in the links in the description. And if you want to learn how to trade, you can access our pre-orders for our Crypto Academy course, where we teach you everything you need to know how to use when it comes to trading in 10 weeks. Let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to keep today's video nice and short and sharp because it really is quite a simple chart that we're seeing here on Solana. There isn't much to go over. There really isn't any need to overcomplicate it. We're just going to keep it nice and simple. And the two things we're going to be talking about today is number one, which is going to be our bullish triggers, and number two, which is going to be our bearish triggers. And also we'll go ahead and chuck in what we should be doing now, what we shouldn't be doing now. So to start with, guys, we do have a downward sloping resistance. We can indicate these levels with these little yellow orangey circles that we can see as our points of resistance. Of course, this whole area here is actually a deviation from our trend line. We can confirm this is a deviation from the trend line if we go ahead and look at the Bitcoin chart, particularly the log scale, and actually equate that exact time frame onto the chart. We can see we had a little bit of a blow off top in the market in that period. Now, a lot of people are thinking, oh, blow off top. We didn't have a blow off top. Well, technically, according to the midline on the log scale, the price did technically have a blow off top. It was just very, very small in comparison to other cycles. Moving forward, we do have a downward sloping RSI resistance, which can confirm this downward sloping trend. And it just signifies, guys, that if we want to be in a macro uptrend, if we want to see some bullish price action, if we want to see this price go to an all-time high, we would need to see one of two things. Well, I would say both things. Number one, the price would need to get above this downward sloping resistance. And number two, we would need to see RSI breakout on this downward sloping resistance to confirm that move. We've seen in the past what happens when we don't have confirmation of a trend, and usually we need momentum to confirm a trend. We've seen obviously breakouts here and here. Both instances, the RSI was not broken, therefore the momentum was not favorable and the trend did not continue upwards. It was in fact a fake out. So confirmation for an uptrend is waiting for that downward slope to resistance to break, as well as this downward sloping resistance on the RSI to break. So our bearish scenarios here, guys, is very straightforward. We have the same bearish outlook that we had months ago in March, when we said, you know, if we bounce on 80, we're going to see 140. And we were very bullish at that time. You go ahead and watch our videos. We told you guys, buy at 80, sell at 140. Very, very easy trade. We had a downward sloping resistance, a downward sloping channel right over here. Very, very obvious channel that we ended up breaking. And of course, we can show you where the channel was if we copy and paste this line over and apply it right here. There was our channel, all right? Retesting over here, bouncing in the channel. There's two retests on the top side, three retests on the bottom side, plateau sideways with a downward sloping resistance over here, which we ended up breaking, and a conversion downward sloping resistance here. All right, confirming the breakout, confirming the move upwards, as well as a lot of other indicators we talked over, more or less indicating a move to 140, which was our major resistance, and we did hit that 80% profit, guys. Very, very good trade. Moving forward from there, strong rejection of Bitcoin, of course, market dropped down. Now we're back at $100. So we're going to come back and talk about all this stuff in just a second, but the bearish scenario, guys, here is we close the daily below this green line, which is our major short-term support, which will send us back down to this $80 range. If we find support here, great, we can bounce up, retest, and continue upwards. That's definitely a possibility. Second possibility, of course, we just mentioned we push upwards here. And obviously, if we lose this gray support zone, we can expect any of these targets to be reached. All right. So what does that mean for a holder? If you're a holder, don't worry. If you will lose $70, time to panic. If you're looking to short-term buy, I wouldn't be buying right now. We're in a point of indecision, meaning that Bitcoin is looking very volatile. The economy is looking very bad, and we're fluctuating between, as we can see, these last few days, we're fluctuating between this sideways channel, which is between this major support and major resistance. If you buy here, there's a good chance you'll get chopped up. There's a good chance you'll get wrecked, but there's also a chance you'll make money. The reality is you shouldn't be gambling, all right? Wait for confirmations before you buy. Simple as that, simple as that. So bullish scenario talked about, bearish scenario talked about, bullish predictions. if we break this descending trend line and we have our breakout here to confirm our momentum, we can expect the price to push to at least $158, which is our major resistance. I would expect to see something like this, push upwards, rejection, maybe retesting the zone, and then continuing upwards to around $200. All right, that is what I'd expect to see. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the technicals. We've just spoken about the RSI already, so we can get rid of that. Let's bring up our MACD. So our MACD is looking, it's looking okay. I don't think it's looking great. We are underneath the 0 point line, so we're technically in the negatives. We have a decreasing amount of buying volume over the last few days, which means selling volume is increasing in comparison to buying volume, but there is still a positive amount of buying volume in comparison to selling volume, if that makes sense. All right, so all it means is the price is starting to slow down. People are starting to buy less. It's starting to flatten out a little bit, all right? Which can signify, obviously, a reversal, but in this case, usually we have reversals when we have negative going to positive. So here, negative going to positive instead of positive going to negative. This means bulls are losing strength. This means bulls are gaining strength. All right. So what we're seeing now is more of a negative, positive going to negative, which is a bearish decrease in volume, or bearish decrease in buying volume, buying pressure. All right. We have to keep that in mind. Moving on from there, 100-day, 200-day moving average underneath the 100. Obviously, you got rejected from the 100. Pretty huge rejection here, guys. Not looking too great. And the Gaussian channel, underneath the Gaussian channel, of course, there's no telling how low this can go from the channel. It can trend below the channel for a very, very long time. It's very hard to tell. What we would need wait to see, we would have to wait to see when we actually get back in this channel, find support on the bottom of the channel, then we can start expecting these moves back upwards. So it's not telling us much besides we are, in fact, in a lot of resistance here under a downtrend, moving downwards. All right, bull market support band. We're in the bull market support band, signifying a no trade zone. Very, very neutral. It's not a buy signal. It's not a sell signal. This is a buy signal. This is a buy signal. This is a sell signal. This is a sell signal. All right, right now, very neutral. Not really telling us much besides basically don't trade. Let's go ahead and look at the daily chart real quickly, guys. Daily chart is telling us a little bit of an opposite thing. We do have this positive increase in buying pressure, which is nice to see. But obviously, guys, the macro time versus smaller time frame, very different things. So we can have this positive pressure on the smaller time frame that doesn't occur over a larger amount of periods or a bigger enough amount of periods to translate into the macro. So you get a lot of people who are new to trading and get very confused. They're like, Whale, you know, you're saying we're bearish, you're saying we've been going down, which we have been going down, but we went up like 20% the other day. You know, and you're bearish, and like, why is that happening? So there's a very big distinction that a lot of people don't actually understand in trading. That is, you can have upward swings in a downtrend. All right, so we're going to zoom out. This is a downtrend. Whether you might like it or not, we are under a major downtrend resistance. We're under this major resistance here, this downward sloping resistance. Therefore, we are in a downtrend. But we had an upward swing within the downtrend. So this is very important distinction, guys. You can be macro bearish, but still expect short-term swings. And we didn't miss this swing. We called it at $80. We got 80% profit here, even though I was bearish on the macro. So be very careful when you call people out for being bullish or bearish without actually understanding their position on the period, because the period, or time frame, whatever you want to call it, is very, very important in trading. Very important. You trade every time period completely differently. You would trade a 1 minute chart very differently to how you would trade a 1 hour chart, completely differently to how you would trade a daily and a weekly and a monthly. All right, they're very different things. So make sure you're aware of the time frame in which we're talking about the indicators. That is why we don't just look at one time frame when we do these videos. We try and look at least 2 or 3, you know, 3 day, 1 day, and like 4 hours, all right, to give you different perspectives and build our case on where we think the price is going. So although the 3 day was looking bad, this is looking a little bit better, but it's not looking good enough to justify or use any weight, because obviously the 3 day is going to hold a little bit more weight than this 1 day chart. And if we go down to the 4 hours, I can guarantee you it looks very different. So here we go, on the 4 hour, it looks very different. It's less smooth, much less smooth, so less averaged. We can see much more accurately exactly on the smaller periods how the price is fluctuating, and it's looking like it's moving downwards. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to move out back to that daily chart. We're going to be quickly taking a look again at some of these technical indicators, just running through them again. Gaussian channel. looking pretty bad, guys. Looking pretty bad. All right, the Gaussian channel. I love the Gaussian channel, but it's looking pretty bad. We can see multiple instances every time we enter the channel. All right, enter from the upside down in. We see the price follow through to the bottom side. We saw it here. We saw it here. Entered from the top side in, followed through to the bottom side, and guess what? Guess what, guys? We saw it up over here as well. Entered from the top in, followed to the bottom side. We're going to see it again here. Entered from the top in, followed to the bottom side. All right, guys. So there's another example of why the time frames matter, because we look at the 3-day and it's suggesting that we're underneath it. What does that mean? We're taking into consideration the 1-day chart with the 3-day chart. We can assume that the price is going to continue to stay along the bottom of this Gaussian channel for a period of time until it breaks within the Gaussian channel on the 3-day, which would signify a price moving upwards out of the Gaussian channel on the 1-day, or at least up over this range here, which would signify a buy signal. So for now, obviously bearish for now, expecting more downturn. All right, guys. So I hope today's video was helpful. I hope I covered a lot of stuff for you guys. Like I said, short, sharp, and sweet. Not too much to go over. It's very, very straightforward. If you take away anything from today's video, do not buy yet. Wait for confirmation. Wait for the downward sloping resistance to break to enter long term. If you're in the market now, look out for the daily close below the green line. Look out for a daily close below 70. That will be a strong sell signal. And do not trade the chop. All right, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.